it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden, and it's the day after my May garden tour, so it's time to talk about my goals for my garden in the month of May and do a recap on if I succeeded or failed in my goals from April. Okay, so for this year, I've been doing my garden tours at the beginning of each month. In the past, I've always done them at the end of the month, and then I feel like it's a scramble to get prepared. I don't know, it just feels off to me. So what I've been doing is just doing my garden tour at the very beginning of the month, and then the next day putting out a video that discusses my garden goals. I talk about my garden goals from the last month, what my successes and my failures were, and then I talk about my garden goals for the next month. And I've found that since I've been doing this, it's been really helpful for those of you who do watch my videos to help you plan along with me if there are certain things you want to accomplish in your garden. And then this video kind of acts as a reminder to go ahead and write up a couple of goals, whether it's on paper or whether you type it up on your phone, whatever works best for you, but go ahead and get yourself a few set goals for the next month. Okay, and when I talk about goals, I'm not always talking about these big, massive goals. I try to give myself a range, some simpler, some medium. I rarely put really big, giant goals in these monthly setups. I do have like some yearly overall massive goals that I'm working on. But for the months, I try to keep it simple. I try to keep it to about 4 to 5 different goals. I don't want to overdo it because in reality, even though I garden every day, it's really hard to get everything done. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is start off with the top 3 videos from last month. I'd just like to talk to you guys about what those videos are and just a little bit about them. If you have the opportunity, you want to go check them out, I'm going to link them in the video description below. The top video for last month was 5 tips for the best zinnias, and that's really just where I went over several different tips and ideas for growing zinnias. Now these are based off of what I deal with in my garden and in my particular zone, but it talks a lot about when and where to plant them, how to go about seeding them, talks about dealing with powdery mildew, just a lot of different aspects of zinnias. Zinnias are like one of my favorite flowers to grow. I'm about to put hundreds of zinnias out in the back yard now that all my spring flushes are finishing up. And zinnias are just a tried and true flower that show up during the hottest, worst times of the season for me, which is just wonderful. They come in a ton of different colors. They come in a variety of short sizes, medium, large, and extremely large. They're very easy to grow from seed, and I do call them the gateway flower in that once you start growing zinnias, it kind of is a gateway to growing a lot more varieties of cut flowers. So if you haven't checked out that video, make sure you do. The next top video was 4 new varieties of clematis. And so basically earlier this year, I started 4 varieties of clematis, actually 3 varieties of clematis from bare root. And then I purchased one already ready to go from homegrown. But I took these 4 varieties of clematis, the bare root ones I had already started and they were already growing on in pots, and then I planted them in multiple places throughout the garden, including planting one at the base of a climbing rose with the hopes that it will eventually climb through the rose. And so either the rose will be blooming or the clematis will be blooming, or perhaps they might bloom at the same time. I also included a couple in my shade garden on a beautiful metal trellis. And then the last one I put in a pot container. That one in the pot container is not done as well. It looks a little fried. I'm hoping its roots are still all right underneath, but we'll have to keep an eye on that one. I feel like I'm sliding off my stool. I need a bigger stool. And then the third most popular video from last month was starting cocoa marigolds. And marigolds are something that I discovered as a cut flower a couple of years ago. I started with just the basic giant mission marigolds that you pick up a packet of it from Home Depot or whatever. Started growing those, loved them. Grew a wide variety last year, didn't love most of those. did a little bit more research and found out that one of my favorite YouTubers, Serena with You Can't Eat Grass, she grows the cocoa marigolds. And so I started 3 varieties of cocoa marigolds, including orange, gold, and yellow. And these make really big, beautiful pom-pom blooms, have nice, long, sturdy stems, and are supposed to do wonderful. And those seedlings have done beautiful, and they're already outside ready to get planted up. I moved them out a few days ago when we had a rainstorm, so it could soak in all that rain, and then they've been hardening off outside. So I'm excited to get those going as well. It is really exciting because we are getting to the time where a lot of my spring blooms are kind of just finishing up, and we're going to be shifting into summer flowers, flowers that can take a lot of heat, marigolds, zinnias, sunflowers. So it's going to be really, really fun coming up in the next few weeks. Okay, and then I choose my favorite video from each month. I typically put out anywhere from 17 to 20 videos each month, and I like to go through and pick out what my favorite one is. And my favorite one for this last month was the spring porch makeover. I love doing my porch for each of the seasons. This one in particular, I really enjoyed working on because I really feel like I nailed it on my shade containers. They were a combination of begonias and impatiens and ajuga and lots of coleus that I grew from seed. Just really, really fun to put the containers together. And I love the color palettes of pinks and fuchsias and some deep burgundies and a little bit of purple, and just a really, really fun putting these containers together. I also really enjoyed decorating the porch because I really went for a vintage feel, and I used a lot of things that I already own. A lot of things that are family heirlooms that typically are just in a box for decades and decades. And I kind of am a little bit different in my family heirlooms. We try to utilize them in our household. So I want my children to have memories of these things. So I pulled out several doilies, a vintage some vintage embroidery. I pulled out an antique quilt, several different things to decorate the porch and give it kind of this really homey vintage feel. Now, all of those items are protected from the elements, so they're not getting rained on, so they are good to go and safe in that way. But really, really enjoyed doing the spring porch this year and love how it turned out. I feel like I'm getting better and better at the porches. I think a lot of y'all, if you've been watching me for a little while, you know, I've done this is probably like my 12th or 13th porch that I've done and videotaped for you all. And I really feel like every time I do a new porch, it gets a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. And I think it's because I'm starting to learn my space and what works really well in it. Okay, so let's talk about April garden goals. Was I successful or did I fail? And I like to give myself a grade in these and just kind of where I felt like I stood regarding them. So the first one was to mulch grass areas for containers, and I did it. I felt really good. I accomplished that. It was a long, drawn out process over multiple weeks. It's not that the entire process took that long. It's that having enough time to go outside and work on that particular process was a little bit difficult. But I did get those areas mulched in. There's still a big central area that needs to be done in the middle of the backyard garden, and that will be coming up soon for you all to see. But I feel really good about what I accomplished. It feels great not to have that grass. Wonderful not to have that grass. Now, am I going to have to maintain the mulch? Yes, I'm going to have to add more mulch over the years. A couple of people pointed out that it was going to be a lot to maintain. It is not going to be as much to maintain as maintaining the grass. So very excited. I'll maintain that mulch all the time. That's fine. And then some people pointed out gravel. I did not use gravel for a couple of reasons in that area. One of the first reasons is it's hot, hot, hot in this area. We'll have 30 plus days of 100-degree weather. And this area was right off my back porch, which means all of my puppy dogs have to go through that area to go to the grass to go to the bathroom. And I don't want them walking on hot rocks when we've had 30 days of 100-degree temps. I don't want that for their little paws. Secondly, gravel is about 8 times more expensive than mulch. So it just wasn't something that I was able or willing to invest in at this point in time. Mulch mulch, it feels, y'all know I have a hard time with things feeling really like permanent. So mulch feels a little bit less permanent. And so that works really well for me in the space. But for that, that goal, I definitely give myself a 100%. So I got an A+ for that goal for April. Okay, the next goal for April was take down the greenhouse and finish planting seedlings. Taking down the greenhouse, absolutely got that done. Simple, easy. This was my first season using that particular variety of greenhouse, and it was easy to put up and easy to take down, and I stored it just in a couple of trash bags, and it's gone up in the attic. No big deal, super simple and easy. If you have a greenhouse like that that you're taking down, make sure you dry it out before you put it away so that it doesn't mildew over the non-growing season, and then, or the season that you're not utilizing it, and then finish planting seedlings. So not so good. I probably have 40% of my seedlings left to plant, so I still have a long way to go on that. It's gonna happen. It's just, it was a lot, and I get distracted by other projects, and then I forget about getting the seedlings out. But there are goals, and I've gotten written down, and I've got plans, so we're gonna start getting a whole bunch of that out in the next few weeks. So regarding that goal, I'd probably give myself a 70% because I did great getting the greenhouse taken care of, but not so great getting all the seedlings planted. But so hopefully we'll do better in the month of May. My third goal for April was finish the spring garden cleanup, and I definitely would give myself probably a 90. So I gave myself, you know, an A- on that. Feel good about that. I got all the way around the front yard, all the way down the side yard, most of the backyard, but I did not get to the back portion of the yard where all the troughs are. We've had so much rain and so many issues regarding drainage that it's just a mud pit. I just can't even get back there. And so we do have a French drain being installed in the next couple of weeks. And once that is installed and hopefully given some time to drain out a little bit, then I'm hoping that I can be able to get to that back portion of the garden. But as for the rest of the garden, I feel like this is the best I've ever done on my spring garden cleanup. I pruned, I fertilized, I pulled weeds. All the weeds already grew back again. So I got to pull them all again. But did that. I planted. I did a really good job on my spring garden cleanup. So feeling great about that. We're getting to the end of spring now, and now I need to do an end of spring cleanup. Going from bed to bed, looking over the areas, removing weeds, pruning back all of my spring blooming plants that I've already flushed and are done. Just different things along those lines. Continue checking drip irrigation. Just making sure I'm continuing to make rounds through my garden and making sure I have eyes on every single area at least a couple of times each month. So for the spring garden cleanup, definitely a 90%. Feeling really good about that. The fourth goal for April was the front porch for the spring, and I give myself a 100% because I felt like I just nailed it this time. I felt so good about the spring porch, and I kind of got delayed going on it because I got distracted by so many other things in the garden. But that delay allowed me to think on it a little bit more, because it's easy to just walk in to a store and buy a bunch of stuff and put it on your porch, or go on Amazon and buy a bunch of stuff and put it on your porch. It's super easy to do. And that's what I definitely did in the past. I would just buy everything and then set up the porch. Now I want to try to utilize a lot of what I have so that I bring less things into my house and into my life to store. And so I think I did a really good job with that and utilizing things that definitely have like memories and had meaning to me as opposed to just buying new stuff at the store. I'm really, really happy with how the spring porch turned out. Spent lots of time out on the spring porch, basically waiting for my kids to get home in the afternoons, or waiting for my husband to get home, or waiting for my kids to get picked up to go to such and such place, whatever. I've spent lots of little time on there, you know, just grabbed myself a soda, sat out there, made some notes in my garden journal. It's been really, really nice and incredibly pleasant. So definitely give myself a 100% on the spring porch makeover. And my fifth and final goal for April was start seeds for summer blooms. And I am in good shape on that. I should say I'm in good shape from seeding them inside, starting seeds outside, inside. Starting seeds outside, I'm a little behind. Not too far behind, I'm still okay. But I do need to get some stuff direct sowed outside. inside, we started a variety of marigolds, tons and tons of zinnias, lots and lots of marigolds, zinnias. I forget the other thing that I started. Oh, I did start sunflower seeds outside as well, and I direct seeded those as well. But we got a lot going and a lot started, which is really, really good. And now a lot of the spring planted seedlings are really starting to come to fruition and are going to start producing blooms for the summer. Really excited for my summer blooms already because I feel better prepared for them. Now, if you haven't started your summer blooms, there's still plenty of time. There's still plenty of time. You can still start them inside, especially if you're a northern zone. But if you're a southern zone like me, you can start direct sowing outside like crazy because we are past our last frost date. So you can just start sowing directly outside, and that's what I am going to be doing. You'll see a few videos coming up where I am going to be direct sowing outside, which is going to be really fun. But I feel really good about what I got started for summer blooms. I am going to do some additional rounds of summer blooms, especially regarding zinnias and sunflowers, because they will peak. A bunch of them will peak probably in about July, and they will succumb to the heat. And so I'll start additional rounds that can grow through the remainder of summer into the fall. Okay, so that I would get starting seeds for the summer blooms. I'd give myself probably a 90. I feel good. I got a lot. I got like mostly A's. I got 1 C on my gardening goals. Feel good about them. I feel good about all this stuff. It was a really busy April. I was ill a little bit, which is really hard. Being out of the garden for a few days kind of sometimes just feels like this massive snowball of stuff to do, but I still feel like I worked through it. I worked through each of the things and I feel good about it. There were definitely some points in April that I was just tired. I just felt tired. There is spring is so busy in the garden. And especially in my area, spring is like go, 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 go. Because once we get to summer, especially midsummer, it is too hot to garden. It's too hot to grow much of anything. And so this is definitely go, go, go time. And then during the summer, I do a lot more planning and projects. But I did get tired in April, but I got some rest. I took some time off and went and saw my sister up in Virginia, which was really great. And then I wasn't feeling well, so I did force myself to take a couple of days off then, which is really good. I am looking forward to May. May is going to be crazy busy because it's the end of the school year. For those of you who have kiddos in school, we call this like they call this like Maycember, because it feels like December because of all the things that have to be done, all the activities that there are. So very busy month of May coming, but really excited to get started on my May garden goals. So the first of my May garden goals is to finish planting all the seedlings. I did all this wonderful work starting all these seedlings, and then several of them are languishing out on the back porch. So I really do need to get out there and get them planted. I've done really well. There's quite a few planted. There's what's remaining is the toothache plant, which is just getting eaten up by some insect. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to grow toothache plant in the future. Coleus, there's still a whole tray of coleus. I still have baby blue eucalyptus, which needs to get out into the garden. I have tons of calla lilies, which have already bloomed. They're probably going to be finished blooming by the time I actually get them out into the garden. And I have a ton of caladiums as well that need to get out there. There's some additional plants, creeping thyme. Yeah. Oh, mint. The mint's going to go in a container, but there's quite a bit left. But in reality, I've put a whole lot out in the garden, so I've done good. I'm good. So I just really would like to get the last of those done, and so especially so that my back porch is cleared off, so that I can continue making plans for summer blooms. But I need to get all this spring stuff planted and in the ground or containers within the garden. All right, number 2 of my main goals is start more sunflowers. I want many more sunflowers than I've had in the past. In the past, I just plant some and then I forget about it, and then I harvest them and I'm like, oh, I should plant some more. I want to do a little bit more succession planting with my sunflowers. So I would like to, instead of planting a whole bed, I would like to plant like a half of it or a third of it, and then like 2 to 3 weeks later plant the other half or third of it or whatever. And I would like to do more succession planting regarding sunflowers. And I think by doing that, I'll have more blooms throughout the summer. I always love when my sunflowers start blooming, to the point that I don't want to cut them because they look so fabulous outside because everything else is dead because of the summer. And I always love having them outside, and then I don't end up harvesting as many as I would like for flower arranging. So I would really like to this time do a way better job on succession planting regarding sunflowers so that I can, harvest them over a couple of months. I've already got one whole bed out there. That's the sunflower Steve blooms. They are coming up slowly. I need to remove the ranunculus from that particular bed so that those sunflowers have a little bit more space. So that'll be on the list of stuff to do. And then I need to go ahead and start another round pretty much in the next week or so. Get that just an area. I'm thinking just like a 4x4 or 3x3 area, plant it up with a bunch of sunflowers, and then do some more of those over the coming months. I'm really excited to give that a try and have a ton more sunflowers this summer. Number 3 of my May goals is to install the new garden beds with the custom arch that is going to go in the center of the mulched area that we just did in the backyard. I have all the supplies. I have the beds. I don't have all the wood to create the arch, but I have it figured out, the mechanics of the whole situation. So I'm going to be showing you guys how I'm doing that. I need to get that going really soon because I'm going to be growing my birdhouse gourds or my loofahs up over this glorious arch that's going to be right out once you step off the back porch. It's going to be this big, beautiful wood arch with the birdhouse gourds or the loofahs. I haven't decided which one's growing on there. And my loofahs and my gourds are growing like crazy. Even though I potted them up, they are insane already. So I really need to get that going so I can get those planted. So that will definitely be a project in the next week or so. I don't think I'm going to be able to get that done before the garden tour this Saturday, but I don't know. It really depends on what's going on this week. I mean, it's Monday. Is it Monday? It's Monday. So I only have like 4 more days, and I have a couple other things I need to get done before the garden tour. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll be started, but perhaps not complete. So we'll have to see. But that is one of my huge goals. Get in these. It's basically going to be 2 garden beds with an arch between them. The wood arch is going to look similar to the shade garden entrance to be able to tie in a couple of elements. And then I have plans for the future, some additional arches that will follow that same kind of setup and look so that I have more repetition throughout the garden and more continuity, which I think will be really, really nice. And then once those garden beds are put together, we will plant those up. They are going to have a wide variety of plants, including several perennials is what I'm hoping in that particular bed. But we do need to crack on about that because I want to get going on that. I'm excited. I just have this big open space in the middle. I'm really excited to add some additional gardening space. Okay, number 4 on my May goals are the French drains in the backyard. So I've talked a little bit about that, and I've been showing you guys our drainage issues. And I did sign a contract with a neighbor who's a contractor and does a ton of work in our neighborhood. And so he's going to be installing over 100 feet of French drains across the backyard. Now, when I talked about that, I didn't go into a ton of detail with y'all. So several of y'all were like, oh, you should do a dry riverbed or blah, blah, blah. That's what it's going to look like. So you're going to be able to see where the drain is because it's going to have rock over the top of it. And I have French drains on the side of the house that have just like, the 8-inch grates, and the water just goes into the grate, but everything else is underground. You can't see it. And they work fine over there, but there's so much water over there that I really need a French drain to go across the entire yard. And I need the grate to be available and open. And so by doing the rock, I think it's going to work a lot better. Plus, I really like that aesthetic, and I think it goes well with the style at the back of my house. It's very casual, whimsical. So I really like that idea. And then I like the idea of once that's installed, perhaps building some little, silly ridiculous but amazing little bridge going over the little rock bed, I think would be really fun. But I will be documenting all of that, including pricing, just being really upfront about the pricing with you all as well. So you can see what the process was, how much it costs, and what the end product is as well. So that'll be fun to document all that and show you guys how it all works. And truthfully, once that French drain is done, even if it only works for 50%, it will be a dramatic change in my backyard. Dramatic change. If it works incredibly, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. But gosh, I'd take 50% at this point. So it'd be really great to be able to access the back half of my backyard without sinking, you know, to my ankles in mud. Okay, and then my final goal for the month of May is to enjoy the local garden tour. So I'm a part of the local garden tour for my local library on May 11th, Saturday, May 11th. I think it's from like 9 to noon or 10 to 1 or something like that. I'll put a link in the video description to it if you're interested. Basically, it's to help raise funds for my public library gardens. They have a pollinator garden and a vegetable garden outside in the back of our library, and it's to raise funds to be able to continue to care for that particular garden. And so several people in that area, they volunteer their gardens, and basically you contact or you use that link and you sign up and you give a small donation to the library, and then they give you the list of addresses and you can go around and drive around to all these gardens. And so I did this last year. I didn't tell a lot of people that I was doing it, but I did this last year, and it falls on a day that all the things are happening. And it's the same way this Saturday. All the things are happening. But last year I didn't plan very well in that I had to leave during part of the garden tour and then come back. And so I missed a bunch of people and I was really bummed about it. And it was stressful and I was nervous. But this year I'm still nervous. But I'm reconciled that things aren't going to be done. Like, that's just not the gardener that I am. I don't have a perfect garden. In fact, I'm going to have to like tape off some areas because it's too muddy and I want people going through it. And like, it's not a finished garden, but my goal is to enjoy chatting with the people. I will be here the entire time during the garden tour, which is great. I figured out other people to take care of all the things for my kiddos, which is great. And I really look forward to just chatting with people. My mom is going to be here. She's going to have a little refreshment table set up for people. So we'll have just some lemonade and some little sweets. And I am going to go through all of my old seeds. So any seeds that I don't plan on using, I'm going to just have a basket of those so you can take what you would like. And I look forward to just meeting a lot of people, especially people that I've talked to online but never met face to face. So I'm really looking forward to that. And my big goal is I really want to enjoy it. I want to enjoy showing off my garden. I want to enjoy chatting with people about flowers and about gardening and about our area. And so that's a huge goal and a big step for me for the month of May. All right, you all. So I fully encourage you to take a few minutes in your garden journal, write down some of your goals, or on your cell phone, just put it in your notes, type up a couple of your goals. Have a few set goals for the next month, for this month of May. Are these all my goals? No, but these are my main 5 that I'm kind of focusing on. And you can see they're a wide range. Some of them are bigger deal, like installing the 2 new beds with the custom arch. Some of them are a little bit simpler, as in starting more sunflowers, right? So you want to give yourself a wide range of goals. Don't give everything really, really hard and big, because it's just hard to accomplish all that in one month. Really be realistic with the amount of time that you have and your budget, which you have available monetarily to be able to invest in your garden. That's always super important too. So I am really looking forward to this month. By the end of May, we will have most probably will have hit our first triple degree temp day, so 100 degrees or higher. And as we're going through the month of May, you will start seeing me shift into summer form, which is ironic because a lot of my northern gardening friends, you guys are just now like going on spring. And now here in the South, especially in my particular area, North Texas, we're wrapping up spring. We're almost done with spring. So you're going to see me shifting into summer mode. Summer mode consists of succession planning, a lot of succession planning planning for zinnias, sunflowers. We talk a lot about drip irrigation. We talk about shade, how to install different shade sails and such in the garden to help out during the hottest times of the year. And you'll see me talking a lot more about projects. So you'll see a lot more building and planning because that's the time of the year where I can't really get out and garden. So I work on projects and ideas for the garden. And then you'll also see me doing a lot of planning for the fall already, so which is so exciting. So I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Drop me a comment below. Let me know what's going on in your garden, what your plans are for May, what you think of my goals for May, if you have any additional suggestions, or if you just want to share how everything's going on in your garden. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Every time you like and comment, it helps grow my channel so much. Plus, I just really like hearing from all of you guys each day. And be sure to check me out on my social media outlets, including Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.